before that, there's no figures on the bottom, and it's just the wooden ones on top, like the brown one there. That's what it would have been.
Right, yes.
And that's sort of like Middle Age Victorian.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I know. Just amazing, isn't it? I'm just about to speak from this microphone, actually. So, no, and I don't want to disturb you at all, but I just thought I'd forewarn you that I'm going to be burdening. Of course you have. Hello and welcome to this Wednesday lunchtime reflection from the Church of St Peter Mancroft here in the heart of Norwich. My name's Gill Persicke and I'm one of the lay ministers here. And please, if you're visiting the church, do feel free to carry on with whatever it is you're doing. So, it's a glorious, rather hot summer's day here in Norwich. And my thoughts today are going to reflect somewhat on that. But I'll be drawing mainly on the words of someone else, the American poet Mary Oliver. I'd like to read and explore with you her lovely poem, The Summer Day. Now, if you're watching online and if you'd like to see the text of the poem, there is a link to it on our YouTube page. But I think the poem is actually quite easy to grasp simply by listening to it, and I will read it a couple of times aloud during this reflection. So, without more ado, here it is, The Summer Day by Mary Oliver. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean, the one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I have been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? For me, that poem just gets better and better as it goes along. But let's take a closer look. Mary Oliver starts with a thought, a question which so many poets and thinkers and ordinary people like me have asked over the millennia as they've contemplated nature. Who made all of this? The great English poet William Blake, for example, asks the exact same question in a particularly famous poem, which I'm sure you'll know the beginning of. Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? Blake suggests his answer, God, by his use of that word immortal, I think. But Mary Oliver doesn't suggest an answer. She's much more matter-of-fact every day in her questioning. And actually, this sounds to me like the beginning of a fairly prosaic poem. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? Things only really catch fire when she gets specific about grasshoppers, because she's having a close encounter with one particular grasshopper who has come to visit her as she takes a summer walk in the meadows. And what a lovely encounter these two creatures, grasshopper and woman, have. The grasshopper extraordinarily bold and relaxed as it passes just a few seconds of its very mysterious life eating from the hand of the woman, who takes the opportunity to observe the insect with a rare and quite beautiful intensity. Mary has the gaze of a true artist, I think. She doesn't kind of rhapsodize or interpret. She simply observes with great calm and great respect. Observes that alien way in which the grasshopper's jaw moves. Observes the complexity of its eyes. Observes that fascinating process of face washing, a gesture which I too have seen in a grasshopper, and it might be familiar to you. But then, suddenly, the creature has gone. And then this poem takes a new turn with a most unexpected statement. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. Now, I have to emphasize at this point, as I'm speaking in a church, that this isn't a Christian poem. It would be doing both the poem and Christianity a disservice to claim that. But I would say that with her next statement, Mary shows me that she does know a great deal about what a Christian would call prayer. Because, as she has just demonstrated with that grasshopper, she does know how to pay attention. And paying attention with dedication and simplicity is a key part of that process of prayer. And there's a continuing sense of the sacred in the words which follow, too. Mary kneels down on the grass. And best of all, she feels not only a bit idle on this lovely summer's day, she also feels blessed. And I think I'm going to take that notion into my own prayer life, actually, regarding prayer time as a blessed time of idleness in the company of God. It's a lovely idea. Now, people might criticise me for that, and Mary too, in her poem, does seem to sense criticism coming her way, because she says this, perhaps a bit defensively: "Tell me, what else should I have done?" And then she goes on to justify the way she spent her day. Doesn't everything die at last, she says, and too soon? So, carpe diem is her subtext, and Mary has indeed seized this glorious summer day, but in the most solitary and gentle of ways, in attentive communion with the world around her. But at the end, the poem goes even one step further, as Mary now addresses you and me, her readers or listeners, quite directly, and with one of the most helpful questions I think I've ever come across in a poem. Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Our lives are so precious, every single day of them. Of course, we know this, but I just love the idea that my life is wild too. So often life for an urbanite like me feels anything but wild. But Mary's choice of that particular word opens for me a whole new world of freshness and freedom and possibility. I'll read the whole poem once more, feeling grateful actually for the good things these words can do for all of us, whether or not we think we're people of faith. So, The Summer Day by Mary Oliver. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean. The one who has flung herself out of the grass. The one who is eating sugar out of my hand. Who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down. Who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I've been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? I hope this August gives you some opportunities to spend gentle, contemplative time leading your wild and precious life in nature. Thank you for being with me today.